Rain poured down on the city like a heavy curtain, washing over the streets and making everything blur. Traffic honked. People rushed to get out of the storm, and among them, a young woman tried her best to keep herself dry with a torn umbrella. Her clothes were old but clean, her eyes tired yet kind, and the plastic bag in her hand carried nothing more than a small lunchbox she had packed for her part-time shift. No one really noticed her. Just another poor girl struggling to survive the city's chaos. But fate had other plans today. A sleek black car sped around the corner, its tinted windows hiding the man inside. He wasn't the type to drive carelessly, but today his mind was stormier than the weather. Ethan Liu, the powerful CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, was running late. Meetings, deadlines, calls. His life was a blur of responsibilities. And today, on top of everything, he was distracted by something deeper, something emotional. His 5-year-old son, Leo, had been asking questions again about his mom, about the woman he had never met. As the car turned sharply, a figure darted across the road, too fast to react. Tires screeched, people gasped, and in that second, everything stopped. The car had hit someone. Ethan slammed on the brakes and jumped out, heart pounding. On the wet road lay the young woman, her bag spilled, umbrella twisted. She groaned softly, trying to sit up. I didn't see you, Ethan said, panic and guilt mixing in his voice. Are you hurt? She looked up, blinking through the rain. Her eyes met his, deep, confused, scared. I'm okay, I think, she whispered, wincing as she tried to move. Before Ethan could react further, the back door of the car flung open. A tiny boy in a blue jacket jumped out, his small boots splashing in the puddles. Daddy, he called, rushing toward the scene. Leo, stay inside the car, Ethan said quickly, trying to shield the boy from the situation. But Leo didn't. Listen. He looked at the girl on the ground, his eyes wide and full of something strange, something soft. And then, out of nowhere, he bent down, wrapped his little arms around the girl's wet shoulder, and kissed her cheek. Mommy, he asked in the sweetest voice. Ethan froze. The girl blinked. What did he say? Leo, she's not. Ethan struggled to speak. His sharp business mind, the one that could handle billion-dollar deals, failed him in this moment. But Leo didn't care. He held on to the girl, looking at her like he had found something he had been missing for years. I knew you'd come, Leo whispered. I dreamed about you. Ethan's chest tightened. This wasn't just confusion. His son had never done anything like this before. And the look on the girl's face, it wasn't just surprise. It was something more, like recognition, like something buried deep inside had just been awakened. The rain kept falling. The girl, still shaken from the accident, gently touched Leo's arm. Sweetheart, I think you're mistaken. No, Leo said firmly. You're my mommy. People had gathered by now, watching the strange scene unfold. Ethan quickly helped the girl to her feet. You need a doctor. Let me take you to the hospital. I'm fine, she said, brushing herself off, still dazed. Just a few bruises. Nothing serious. I insist, Ethan said, the CEO in him returning. At least let a doctor check you. And I'm sorry. This was my fault. She looked at him, really looked. There was something about him. His suit was expensive, his car even more so. But his eyes weren't cold. They carried weight, regret, confusion, maybe even pain. I don't need anything from you, she said quietly. Just, please take care of your son. He's a sweet boy. Leo was still standing there, his little hand reaching out towards her. "You'll come with us, right? Please?" The girl hesitated. For a moment, she almost reached back. Almost. But then she stepped away. "Goodbye," she said softly. And she walked off, disappearing into the rain. Ethan didn't know what to think. He watched her go, his son crying softly beside him, and for the first time in years, he felt completely lost. Who was this girl? Why did Leo call her Mommy? And why? Did a part of Ethan believe that maybe, just maybe, there was a reason their paths crossed today? Little did he know, the girl he almost left behind held more secrets than he could imagine. And this was only the beginning of a story that would change all of their lives forever. The rain had stopped, but the storm it left behind was far from over. That night, Ethan Lou sat silently in his study, the lights dim, his laptop open but untouched. His mind was miles away from business deals and company reports. He kept replaying the moment in his head. Leo calling that strange girl Mommy. There was something about her face, something haunting. It was more than just an accident. It felt like a sign, or maybe a message from the past that had been buried for too long. Meanwhile, in a small rented room across the city, the girl, Aria, sat curled up on a worn-out mattress. Her bruised knees stung, but it wasn't the pain that kept her awake. It was the boy's voice, that soft, innocent voice calling her. "Mommy!" She didn't know why it hit her so hard. She didn't have children. At least she didn't think she did. Years ago, Aria had woken up in a hospital with no memory of who she was. The doctors had said it was a result of head trauma. There was no ID, no family, nothing. She was a blank page. They called her a miracle for surviving. She called herself lost. For the past few years, she had built a quiet, invisible life, working, small jobs, keeping her head down, trying not to be noticed. But that little boy, his hug felt real. His words felt familiar. Could she really have a past she didn't know about? Back at Ethan's home, Leo wasn't sleeping either. He sat by the window, clutching the small stuffed elephant his mom had supposedly sewn years ago. Or so he believed. He had no proof, only dreams, but those dreams were strong, too strong for a child to imagine on his own. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw a woman smiling at him, holding him close, singing a lullaby he couldn't quite remember the words to. And today, when he saw Aria, he knew it was her. The next morning, Ethan did something he never did. He cancelled all his meetings. He needed answers. He ordered his driver to search the nearby security cameras where the accident happened. Hours later, they tracked her. A low-paying bakery job, a crumbling apartment, a lonely life. Ethan stared at the footage of her leaving, work in her worn clothes, and something in him stirred. Guilt, curiosity, or something deeper. He drove there himself. When Aria opened the door, her eyes widened. She didn't expect him to come. She didn't expect to see him ever again. "I'm not here to make trouble," Ethan said gently. I need to talk. About my son. About you." Aria stepped aside silently. The apartment was small, barely furnished, but clean. Ethan noticed a stack of medical bills on the table, some unopened. Aria noticed his gaze and looked away. "I had an accident a few years ago," she said before he could ask. "I don't remember anything before that. Not even my real name. They gave me the name Aria at the hospital." Ethan stared at her, stunned. Could it be? Could she really be the woman who vanished from his life years ago? "My wife disappeared when Leo was a baby," Ethan said slowly. "No note, no message. One day she was gone. Police searched for months. Everyone thought she left us. But I never believed that. Arya's eyes trembled. Her fingers tightened around the teacup in her hand. I don't know who I was, she whispered. But when your son hugged me, it felt like home. Just then, Ethan's phone rang. It was Leo. Daddy, did you find her? Is she coming home? Ethan hesitated. His eyes locked with Arya's. I don't know yet, son, he said quietly. I'm trying to find out, but things weren't going to be that simple. Later that day, as Ethan left Arya's apartment, a black car, parked nearby, snapped pictures. Inside was a woman with cold eyes and a sharper smile. Vivian, Ethan's business partner, and the one who had always wanted more than just boardroom meetings. She had waited years for Ethan to forget his wife. And now, just as he was finally opening up again, this mysterious girl shows up. She wasn't going to let that happen. Vivian made a call. I want everything on this area girl. Dig up her hospital files, her past, anything. If she has no memory, maybe I can remind her of something that'll make her disappear again. Back at the company, the board was growing restless too. Rumors were spreading that Ethan was getting distracted, soft. Investors were getting nervous. And just as things were heating up, another problem landed on his desk. Someone had leaked internal files to a rival company. Ethan was being attacked from all sides. His personal life in chaos. His company under threat. And now the woman he might have once loved was caught in the middle of it all. And still, he wasn't sure what the truth was. Was Arya really his lost wife? Or was this all an illusion? A twist of fate playing tricks on an already broken family. The tension was building. Arya began having flashes. Bits of dreams, half memories. A garden, a baby's laughter, a man's voice whispering her name. She didn't know what was real and what wasn't. But one thing was clear. She had to find out, because someone out there didn't want her to remember. And as the pieces began to come together, Arya, Ethan, and Leo were drawn into a web of secrets that stretched far deeper than any of them imagined. What really happened all those years ago, and what will happen now that the past is knocking on the door. The days that followed were a whirlwind for Arya. As memories began flashing in small blurry scenes, she felt like she was chasing something just beyond her reach. A familiar lullaby, a soft crib, a man's gentle laughter. She wasn't sure if it was real or her mind playing tricks, but every time she saw Leo's face, she felt closest to the truth. That little boy's eyes were too familiar to be a coincidence. Ethan, on the other hand, had started looking through old photographs and home videos with Leo. In one of the videos, Leo, as a baby, was laughing in a garden, his mother's face never fully visible, but the voice, soft, sweet, humming a tune, sounded hauntingly like Arya's. Ethan played it over and over. It was the same voice she unconsciously hummed when she baked, the same lullaby Leo often mumbled in his sleep. Meanwhile, Vivian wasn't sitting idle. She had found the hospital records, and what she discovered turned her confidence into panic. Arya was Ethan's wife. Her name was Elena Liu. The hospital had taken her in 5 years ago, with severe head trauma after a hit and run. She had been pregnant at the time, but lost all her memory. No one claimed her. No one knew who she was. Until now, Vivian knew that if this truth came out, everything she had built with Ethan, every chance she had at being more than his partner, would crumble. So she made one last desperate move. She leaked a fake story to the media. Mysterious, woman targeting billionaire, CEO's family. The headlines spread like wildfire. Arya's bakery was surrounded by reporters. Her co-workers turned cold. People whispered and pointed. She was forced to quit. Ethan was furious. He held a press conference and defended Aria publicly. She is not a stranger. She's the mother of my son. She's my wife. The words echoed around the room, and though he wasn't completely sure until now, saying it out loud felt right. The tension in his chest finally loosened. That night, he found Aria sitting quietly in the dark, tears rolling down her cheeks. "You remembered?" he asked softly. She looked up at him, nodding slowly. "Bits and pieces, but enough to know. I was happy. With you. With Leo." Ethan knelt beside her. "Then come home, please." She hesitated, looking down. "What? If I'm not the same person you loved?" "You're not," he whispered. "And neither am I. But we both survived. That's worth something, isn't it?" She smiled for the first time in days, but just when things started to feel hopeful, police showed up at Ethan's office. Vivian had been caught attempting to bribe a hospital clerk to alter Aria's records. When confronted, she broke down. "I didn't want to lose you," she told Ethan. "I waited all these years." He looked at her, not with anger, but disappointment. "You didn't lose me to her, Vivian. You lost me when you decided to play with someone's life. With the truth out, everything shifted." Aria, now recognized officially as Alina, returned to Ethan's home with Leo. The mansion felt unfamiliar, but Leo gave her a grand tour like it was a palace. "Your room is right here," he said proudly. "Next to mine, like before." Each day brought back a little more. A scent in the kitchen, a hidden photo behind a book, a familiar melody on the radio. But even as she pieced together the past, she was more focused on the future now. A fresh start. Ethan didn't try to rush her. He gave her space, letting her rediscover their world at her own pace. Some days she cried, some days they laughed. But they were a family again, and that was all that mattered. One evening, Leo pulled out a crayon drawing he'd been hiding. It showed the three of them, hand in hand, smiling under a big yellow sun. He looked up and asked, "Are we going to stay like this forever now?" Aria kissed his forehead. "We'll do our best, sweetheart." Outside, the sky turned shades of pink and gold. A new day was always waiting. In the end, love found its way back. Not because of grand gestures or perfect memories, but because of something stronger. The bond between a child and his mother. The truth buried under time, and the courage it took to forgive, to start again. So, the girl once knocked down on the road rose again. Not as a stranger, but as a mother, a wife, and a woman who had lost everything, only to find something far more beautiful. Sometimes fate breaks us, only to bring us back home.